What if there is a door to the best and most beautiful version of you? I know it might sound cliche, but there is a key to unlock that door. And that key is a harmonious and a trusting relationship between our conscious and the subconscious mind. You see, we don't have two separate minds. We have only one powerful mind, but it works in two distinct ways. The active conscious mind and the passive subconscious mind. You see, the subconscious mind is a source of creativity, healing, and it is a storage of every good thing that we desire. But they can be manifested in our three-dimensional, in our tangible world, only when we learn to establish a beautiful, powerful relationship between both aspects of our mind. Hi friends, welcome back. I'm Shibu and I'm a psychologist, and I'm really excited to share these insights about the two sides of our mind. Through my own experiences and studies and observation, I can clearly see how this relationship between our conscious and the subconscious mind plays such a crucial role in shaping every aspect of our lives. So, before we explore this relationship, we need to ask, what is this two distinct nature of the mind, the active and the passive? You see, on one side, we have our conscious mind, and it can work actively, and on the other it works passively. Another term for this passive part of the mind is subconscious. Sub means below, underneath, which means that it is working without my conscious awareness of it. Let's take an example. Right now I'm speaking to you. I can actively choose my words, decide what to say, and that's the active part of my mind. I can be aware of it, I can control it. But at the same time, there is an incredibly complex process happening underneath. I'm not in control of that side. Think about this. As I'm speaking, my brain is sending signals to my vocal cords, my tongue and my facial muscles, so that all of them together make these incredibly complex and subtle movements in perfect coordination and create sound waves that travel through the air. They hit the microphone and then convert it into signals and so on. Now that's just my side of the story. Now let us look at your side. You are actively choosing to watch this video and to listen. That's the active part of your mind at work. What happens next? The sound waves from my voice hit your eardrums. Those tiny vibrations are then converted and then sent to the brain as information signals. The same with the images on the screen as well. All these information signals travel to your brain, where they are put together and processed and made sense at a speed that is incredible. Now, are we doing consciously all of that? No. The majority of everything that's happening, the processing, the decoding, the understanding, it's all happening at a subconscious level, below our conscious level. That's all taken care of by this incredibly intelligent life that is within us. We can choose consciously and actively, but it is that part of life's intelligence that works subconsciously that does most of everything. That's incredible, isn't it? We often say, oh, I'm speaking, I'm listening. But if you really think about it, who is actually doing all this work? It is this divine, incredibly intelligent life that dwells within us, that does most of it. Now, I could give you so many examples. Pretty much all the functions in the body, if you think about it, is taken care of by this intelligent mind. Eating, digestion, breathing, you can go on forever. And it's all happening below conscious level. And that's the reason for calling this the power of the subconscious mind. You see, the conscious mind has the power to choose actively. But it is the other side of the mind that's working passively, subconsciously, that is constantly working in the background, that's mainly running the show in our lives. And that's the intelligent life that is sustaining life in the body, and to a large extent, that does pretty much everything even outside of our body. I'm sure by now you can see the importance of having a really good understanding of the nature of this subconscious part of our mind. So let's turn to the subconscious mind and ask, hey, who are you? What is your nature? What are the laws by which you work? One of the answers that would come from the subconscious part of the mind would be, I am the creative power in you, the source of all life. Oh, that's a big statement. What does that mean? So let's take an example. You see, back in the 1800s, Elias Howe was trying to invent a sewing machine that could stitch fabric automatically instead of stitching by hand. He worked hard, experimenting, trying, failing, and trying again, and so on, but nothing worked. He just could not figure out the right solution. And then apparently one night he had a dream, and in this dream he was captured by soldiers. They told him in the dream, if you don't invent a working sewing machine, your life is over. But then something caught his attention. The soldiers in the dream were holding spears with the holes in the tips, the sharp end of the spear. At that moment, bang, it clicked. You see, traditionally, the needles have the holes not at the sharp end, but at the smooth end of the needle. But in his dream, he saw the hole at the tip of the spear, and he realized that was the missing piece. This insight gave him the idea to create the so-called lock stitch mechanism. Now the two threads can lock each other from both sides on a piece of cloth. He woke up, tested the idea, and of course it worked. You see, his dream did not happen at random or by chance. The part of our mind that works subconsciously is intelligence beyond limits. It's a storage of wisdom, insights, any solution that we are seeking. It's creativity. Everything is emerging from that dimension of our mind. We don't have to be inventors or artists to have similar experiences. Have you ever had a great idea that you had when you woke up and you had a dream and so on? Or insights, solutions popping into our head when we are having a shower, going for a walk, or just being relaxed. That is our mind that's working subconsciously. If you think about it, sometimes the best way to solve a problem is not to try to force it, but to take a step back, let go, give our minds some space to work in the background. That's often the best ideas come. The thing is, it performs at its best. The subconscious part of the mind works at its best when we are in a good state of mind. So then the question is, why is that part of our mind works at its best when we are relaxed? To understand this, let's take another example. Think about a professional tennis player. They spend hours and hours of practicing, training their body and mind to react quickly and automatically. As you can understand, initially there is so much conscious effort, but then when they are actually in a match, the ball is coming towards them at such speed that they don't have time to consciously think and say, oh, now I need to move my right foot forward, and then I need to hold my racket in this particular way, and then I need to gauge the ball that is coming towards me, and then I need to swing the racket in this angle, and so on and so forth. You see, it's impossible to do every little one of those things consciously. Instead, they have to now let the subconscious part of their mind to take over. All that practice, hours of practice, is now absorbed into the passive part of the mind, which now executes the movement without needing to think about them. Now, if you think about this, what happens if that player is not in a good space mentally? Maybe they are feeling stressed, anxious, or distracted. Maybe something related to the game itself, or something in their personal lives that's bothering them in the background. Even though they are incredibly talented, or they have trained for years, they are not able to perform at their best. You see, the greater the quality, the greater the clarity, focus, good mental and emotional state, the better the performance. But the question is why? Here is one way to make sense of this. When a player takes a shot, there is a lot going on behind the scenes, as we said earlier, lots of coordination, calculations, and so on. Now imagine all of that like a central command center receiving and process an incredible amount of data, and at the same time sending out signals to different parts of the body to make sure that everything is coordinated so well so that the shot is perfect. You know, the static on a radio is just that annoying noise that we hear when we listen to the radio. It is caused by this random electrical signals that mess with the sound of whatever that we are listening to. If we use that analogy in the case of a tennis player, if they are in a good space internally, all that coordination and the signals in the body, the whole processing is flowing so smoothly, there's no interference. But the moment they start feeling anxious or worried, that state of consciousness creates interference in the mind, and then it affects the game. I know that all analogies have limitations, but if you reflect on our daily lives and bring greater awareness into what is going on in our lives, we can see that the least the interference with our worries and the fears and anxieties and so on, the greater the flow of life. Actually, there are numerous studies that are indicating that people who are generally more optimistic and joyful in nature, they tend to heal faster. You see, the intelligence that works subconsciously is not just in our body. It is present as an invisible field. It's in everything, and it's everywhere. When we are at peace, everything runs at its best. Everything, not just in our physical bodies, but everything in life would tend to flow more gracefully. So then, it all comes down to a trusting relationship. It is this invitation to trust the bigger part of us, this intelligent life, spirit, God, universe, ground of all being. Such an invitation is present in most traditions and also in many scriptures. In the Bible, for instance, it is said, "The Lord will fight for you, but you need to be still." In the Hindu scripture of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna invites the great warrior Arjuna, be steadfast in your union with me. Perform your duty with absolute trust in me. If you paraphrase all of that, we can say the intelligent life with its infinite power, wisdom, love, and intelligence can heal us, can bring us success, can bring prosperity, can fulfill our heart's prayers. But the question is, can we trust? Trust. I know. Why is that we find it so hard to trust? And that takes us to the next section. Despite our awareness that there is something far bigger within us, we find it difficult to trust. Let me try to explain two possible reasons for this. I know that there are plenty of reasons, but let me explain at least two of them. You see, when we say trust, it implies a relationship. We need to trust in something or someone. So who is that? What is that? And if the answer is, oh, it is God, Spirit, the subconscious mind, or the larger part of us, the bigger part of us, well, then we are referring to something or someone that is invisible, an intangible reality. But you see, we are so dependent on our senses. Everything that we can touch, hear, feel, see, and so on. It is hard to trust in a reality that is intangible. Can we blame ourselves for it? No. Think about this. If I ask a favor to someone, that person responds to me saying, yes, Shibu, I shall do that for you. Now, my senses have the confirmation that the request is heard. I know this person and I can trust that person. But when it comes to this invisible, we have no way of knowing whether that reality has heard me. Is that reality going to respond to me? We are left in the darkness. So we prefer to trust in something that we can rely on. I can think of another reason why we struggle to trust this greater part of ourselves. The thing is, the idea of trusting this invisible reality is not really part of the mainstream thinking. I'm tempted to say, especially in the Western cultures, but then, to be fair, that's true pretty much everywhere in the world. We are wired to survive above all else. Therefore, we are wired to rely on that which is tangible. And because of this survival programming, which is deeply imprinted in our subconscious, is kind of running the show without us even realizing it. It's like an old software that's running in the background, controlling how we react and how we make decisions and so on. It's a programming that is relying heavily on the external world, the reality that is tangible to us. To create a trusting relationship between the conscious and the subconscious, the tangible and the intangible, the operating system within us, the way we think, feel, and operate in the world, it needs an upgrade. Now, that takes practice, lots of commitment. So then we may ask, what for? Can you give me one good reason that can excite me to put in all the effort to reprogram myself, to enter into a relationship with this larger part of me, with this invisible part of me? The relationship between the conscious, active, the subconscious, the passive. You see, this relationship between the conscious and the subconscious mind is a sacred one. As I come from a Christian background, I see it as a kind of a Trinitarian existence within us. By the way, this same idea is expressed in different ways across many traditions. See, the infinite, the absolute, the so-called the Father, is individualized in every one of us. Individualized means although each one of us is having a distinct and a unique existence, we are not at all divided or separate from the whole, the infinite, the absolute. And this infinite life is living in us as the active mind on one side and the passive mind on the other side. The active, the conscious part of us can be thought of as the son or daughter, the part that chooses, believes, and holds different states. The passive, the subconscious, we can think of it as the spirit, the part that responds and manifests. I think there are some traditions that refer to this part as the mother. And the beautiful thing is, yet all of that is one unity. I want to briefly touch upon another Bible verse which I consider as a universal truth. If you truly understand its meaning, it can really make our lives exciting and a really joyful one. It is said, whatever you pray for, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. You see, the believing is initially an active choice. And when we keep choosing and choosing and choosing something through repetition, that belief then sinks into the subconscious. And once it becomes a subconscious, becomes part of who we are, whatever we believe starts to show up in our external world. Let's take an example. If you want more success in your life, that desire itself is like a prayer. You see, we don't have to sit down and say, God, please make me more successful, because the desire in itself is a prayer that we are carrying all the time. Now, how does that prayer get fulfilled? How can that become an external reality? Well, if your prayer is to have more success, you need to ask yourself, what is the essence of success? Why do you want more success? What does that mean to you? Well, then it might be that you want more freedom, more resources, more wanting to be significant in life, maybe the chance to express yourself more freely, or simply feeling safer or free from fear. Anyway, success can be different things to different people. Now, consider this. What happens if you can truly believe that life, this intelligent, invisible life, God, can fulfill your prayer? That failure is not an option at all. If you are absolutely certain that your prayer is already heard and that it will definitely happen, then you have already the essence of success inside you. You are feeling successful now. You are thinking from that perspective. You are free now. You already enjoy that sense of safety. In other words, you feel successful inside because the total sense of knowing that this greater part of you, God, is going to create conditions that are beyond your control at the moment for you to reach where you want to be, as long as you are consciously willing to commit yourself in that process. Can you see now that on one side there is a conscious commitment, and on the other, the infinite power of life, God, subconsciously works and creates all conditions necessary to fulfill your prayer. And this partner, God, works, as I said, subconsciously in ways that you cannot fully understand. Now, that is the relationship between the two. Now, you see, through consistent and conscious commitment from the part of the active mind, we can embody the essence of every good thing that we desire. We become that subconsciously. And then the subconscious part of mind, with its infinite stores of wisdom, love, resources, intelligence, power, connections, creates external conditions to reflect what we have become in our inner world. Oh, by the way, if you haven't seen my video on essence and form, where I explain that the essence is an invisible reality within us and the forms are the external, the tangible reality, and as long as the conditions are right, as long as we hold the essence within ourselves, it has a way of externalizing into forms, and that's a law. I will drop the link below and you might want to check it out. Before I wrap up, if you are finding this video interesting and if you relate to what I'm sharing, feel free to share it with others, subscribe to the channel, or give me a thumbs up. Thank you. And if you share your thoughts or reflections by dropping them in the comments below, that will be absolutely great. So we talked about how our mind has two parts, the active and the passive, the conscious and the subconscious. The subconscious is the creative power and it works at its best when we are in a state of trust. That means the relationship between these two parts, the conscious and the subconscious. And the exciting thing, the subconscious has no limits. We just need to step into that relationship with that greater part of us, with the infinite spirit of life, with trust. And yes, this journey is not always a smooth one. It's not always linear. It can be a bumpy one. There will be challenges. Like any other relationship, it takes time, it takes commitment, and it will grow deeper and deeper. There will be moments of doubt, but that's all part of the process. So my prayer for you is that you may find the courage to connect with that deeper part of yourself and bring more life, more energy, and more joy into every part of your life. Thank you.